Thank you for listening to Soul Radio. The
Hey
opinions
everybody.
expressed in this
We don't see it
program
yet,
are
but it's
those
out
of
there.
the host and the guest. This station is not responsible for any claims or representations made and does not endorse or recommend any products or services mentioned.
All right, hello everybody on Facebook. My timer was a little bit off, but we're starting on time. Almost looks like it's too bright on there. See that goes here. And it's all right. It's just the TV. Feel me? Make it real, yo. Girl, let's get deep. Do your thing, get the ring, yo. Huh, 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 huh.
Attention please, attention please, attention please. Listen. You don't like gospel, smooth R&B, and a talk show that's out of this world. Stop listening now. For the rest of you, get ready for 2 hours for pure talk and musical joy. Alright, the way's going down. I'm ready for Let's Stay Together Talk. Alright, listen up everybody. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right, everybody, welcome to Let's Stay Together Talk. Your host, Reverend Rick McCain, along with my baby, my girl, my boo, Alta Brenda McCain. How you doing, baby?
I'm good. It's a cool Tuesday, which I'm loving. But it's another Tuesday, so I'm grateful to be alive and to be here. Gonna say, hey, Tracy out there.
Yeah.
We see you out there waving at you. Hey, hey.
Yeah, Tracy's still doing social distancing. So for those of you all listening on the radio, if you join us on Let's Stay Together Talk Show on Facebook, you'll be able to talk with us on Facebook while you're listening to it on Soar Radio. So, I mean, that's got to be like a blessing. You can do two things in one. It's almost like double mint gum, you know, two things in one. You can listen to us on Soar Radio, and you can also, you know, help us out. Go to Facebook and join us at Let's Stay Together Talk Show. Baby,
I do want to say hello to Beverly and Andy. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much. We've got an interesting show coming up. We've been trying to stay relevant with all of our show. For those of you who have never been here, we are doing some new things here. We've got a new forum where we're actually talking about topical subjects, and we also changed the music. So we're playing some R&B soul with the music that we have as well, and so we hope that you all are going to enjoy that. We've been enjoying it, haven't we?
We have,
It's
for
been,
the ones that I could hear, because usually we don't hear it. But the feedback has been pretty great.
Yeah, and so we're going to be doing that. But we got some interesting comment topics, and one topic I've got, and I just got to share with y'all now. I said, it's your future. I put down, it's your future, so shut up and speak. I'm explaining about what I'm talking about there. We're going to be a little rough on this because a lot of times people are opening up their mouths, but they're not saying nothing. And so we need to start, shut up and start speaking about something that's really going to make a change in our communities. I was looking forward, to try to get my little track together for Christian Rio. I cannot find it today. I'm running around too much. But we just gonna go into the show. What we talking about on Christian Real today, babe?
As a black Christian, can I work with my unsaved brothers and sisters? Can they do that, babe?
Yeah, they can. But let me say, I got a couple things I want to start off on that. I was just recently, I was looking at something on YouTube, and this gentleman by the name of Daryl Davis, he was telling me about a story with him going as a young man. He was going to the boys club, and he's part of the boys club thing. He's walking through this part of the city, and as he's walking through, he's the only African American there, and he gets rocks and bottles and stuff thrown in his direction, and he's thinking they don't like the boys club. until all of a sudden he finds out that they're throwing rocks directly at him. There were some white people there that was throwing rocks at him because he was in a white community, the only black person there. And so he asked them, why were they doing this? But they didn't want to explain it to him. So maybe 2 decades later, he decides to do something I thought was revolutionary. And some African Americans are going to think it's crazy. He decided to wanted to have an interview with one of the Ku Klux Klan. He was a grand poobah of the Ku Klux Klan, or a district of the Ku Klux Klan. But he told his white secretary to just tell them that, someone wants to have a meeting with him, but don't tell them that I'm black. So the Ku Klux Klan comes with his guard and stuff like that, and they see him, Daryl Davis, a black man. You may have seen this a couple of years ago back on, it was on CNN. And he meets with him, and the man decides to meet with him. Now, extraordinary that you have an African American meeting with a Ku Klux Klan. Most African Americans said, are you out of your mind? What the heck are you meeting with a Ku Klux Klan for? And the Klan would probably say, what are you doing meeting with the N-word that we were talking about last week? But they sat down and talked with each other. Long story short, the Klansman comes over to Daryl's house and eats. Now, he told him, though we are communicating with each other, I still think you're inferior to me based on your color, and I'm superior over you. But Daryl Davis continuously talked to him. And he started coming over to Daryl's house to eat, and then they was even inviting Daryl to Klans meetings. And he was sitting in the front row in the Klans meeting listening to him, because what Daryl wanted to do was find out why don't you like me? What is it about us that is so different that you can hate me solely on the color of my skin? I'm going somewhere if you follow me. And again, long story short, the Klansman started coming over to Daryl's house by himself without his guard. And then he started letting Daryl come over to his house. This man, after Daryl, who would a radical decision of deciding that he was going to talk to a Klansman to find out why he didn't like him, he got the Grand Poobah to reject being a Ku Klux Klan. Not only that, 200 more Klansmen dropped ranks and decided not to be a Klansman anymore. And so what I'm saying is, when we say, can Christians, our black Christians, can we work together with each other? We sometimes treat our African brothers and sisters who are not African American brothers and sisters, who are not a part of Christ or the Christianity. Somehow, I know some people ain't gonna like this, like they Klansmen. We don't even want to talk to them sometimes. And I just want to know from your perspective, by hearing this story, because I know people are saying that's still a crazy story. It was, but I think he did an excellent thing, because he got somebody to remove hate so much that they denounce what they used to believe. And so I'm saying to Christians, what it is about us, because that's how most outside world, because Christians, you don't follow Christ and you a heathen. And I joke about that sometimes. We're judgmental, and most people don't even want to be bothered with us because we treat them like we the Ku Klux Klans, and we're superior over our own, instead of listening to them to find out what it is, what's going on in their lives that we can incorporate into bringing them to Christ. What you got to say about that?
Well, Christians as a whole, if we keep it's Christian real, we know we can be very judgmental and very critical of people who are not like us, sort of like what other organizations do. If you're not similar to them or like them, they sort of look down on you. But I truly believe that all people have a voice. All people can be used by God. They don't have to walk the walk you walk or talk the talk you talk. Their ministry could be totally different. They could probably save more lives in the genre and what they are in. Like when I put out the post, I had some reservations. I was asking Rick, should I put a disclaimer on this? Because I don't want people seeing Lil Wayne and Nicki Minaj and think, how do you know if they're saved or not? We don't know that, but it was just the point of using that as an example. I remember when Nicki put that song out a couple of years ago with that gospel person, and I can't think of the song or the name of the song or the artist, But a lot of people have reservations. How can she be doing this and then she's on a gospel song? It was a great gospel song. I wish I could remember it. Anybody could remember it, type it out. Tracy, if you know it, let us know it. But her tribute to that, if that person wanted her to be on there, it was something. She reached some people. You don't know, the fact that these people could be out here reaching other people, doing stuff and saving souls. It doesn't have to stay within the four walls. That's why we have to go out. And I think us as Christians should be able to work with unsaved people. And a lot of people don't, agree with that.
And the problem is that when we don't work with Christian people, I know we got a couple of comments up there on Facebook. If you're out there on SOAR Radio, join us right now. We're talking about should black Christians work with our brothers and sisters. Some people, sometimes get the thought process, because she's secular, why is she making, Christian music? A lot of our Christian people who made great Christian music came from the secular world.
Yes.
And so that is, you need to understand that. And I'm going to go to a couple of comments that we have there because I know. Yeah, go ahead and read it.
Tracy did chime in on this one and said Christians are sometimes very judgmental and will walk away before trying to hear the other side. The song was by artist Tasha Cosby, and Tracy love her, and the name of the song was I'm Getting Ready.
Right, there you go.
And so, the girl came with it, but see, we can't go beyond the vision of what we see, of how she looked and her surroundings and the type of the music she produced. You don't know if Tasha had a relationship with her and she was reaching her. Apparently she was reaching her. But the thing that get me, going back to judgmental, that's a lot of us. And it's sad to say, that's how, if it don't look Christ-like, we don't want to be bothered with it. And Tamika McKinley says, same way all of us save folks have babies out of wedlock. Boom! She just put it out there and got the nerve to judge other people.
Yeah, and we do that a lot of times. And Christians, we got to stop doing that. So, what I've been doing, because I'm gonna admit something, preacher or not, I've been judgmental between black people sometimes. I can't stand going sometimes to these, African American restaurants, these barbecue places, and they don't have my stuff on time, and I'm like, I'll say, boy, black people make me mad, and I'm being judgmental, and I have to correct myself on that.
But those are facts, though. Some of
they
them
may be
just
fact.
need to get
They may be
themselves
fact,
together.
but it doesn't mean that I'm putting it in a judgmental thought process. Like, I'm almost categorizing all blacks. Like sometimes all blacks are lazy. Well, heck, we built the United States. How can we be lazy?
You.
But
we just need a rest.
We have to watch that, and I'm putting myself on blast too by saying I've got to watch sometimes how I can get frustrated and call out some people. So I was listening to some brothers out there that I don't necessarily listen to a lot, and I was listening to T.I., and he was talking about something about voting and racism and how we need to come together. And I guess this guy's name is Drade Banner. I may have said his name wrong. I put down D-A-R-D, and I might be wrong.
D-A-R
Yeah, Dard Banner. I think it's something different, but he's a rapper too. And Killer Mike. I'm listening to these rappers, and I don't listen to rap music, but I saw them, I was on YouTube, and I'm listening to them, and these men just, so educated. They came from a hard life. They admitted they used to sell drugs. They was ganging, banging. They was shooting. They was causing all kinds of things. But they changed their lives when they started seeing that their community needed something. When they started making it up. They didn't just sit there and say, I'm not going to help my community. I'm going to lift them up too. And so when they're doing that out there in the world, and we as Christians are not listening to them, I'm going to say this Killer Mike, I was listening to a lot of things. He got a lot of knowledge, wisdom. He's got some facts. He's got some history. He educates. And I'm like, I'm liking this. We miss out on coming together with people like that so we can get rid of things like systemic racism and prejudice and hatred that we have on African Americans. When we don't work together with people who have some knowledge out there that may not be Christians. I don't agree with everything that they're saying. I don't know what their music is talking about because I haven't heard it, but I heard them. And I made it intentional to start listening to what they think because he's younger. This is our future. If we're going to bring people to Jesus Christ, we need to know where they're at. We can't just say, you need to get Jesus saved in 1,000 years from now, where your life going to be. Honey, I'm worried about 5 minutes from now. What am I going to do for an hour? Talk to me about what's going to happen today. I can't pay my bill. Don't ask me what's going to happen 1,000 years from now. Talk to me what's going on now. And then maybe, like the black man with the Ku Klux Klan, if you come to my level, then maybe I'll see where you at.
And that's what we're supposed to do as Christian, meet you where you are. Like the old stereotypes. Tracy did say there are also stereotypes out there. Within the church, growing up, certain churches, you couldn't have a baby out of wedlock, and they shame you in the church if you did, which I thought was totally wrong. And then you have people that just automatically, if she's dressed this way and she coming to church, I mean, they so worried about their man looking at the woman. They don't want the woman dressed a certain way. A lot of churches now are come as you are. And of course, I always say a babe in Christ. If you're a babe in Christ, you're dressed a certain way. 5 years later, you still dress the way. We need to revisit orientation again. But the thing of it, I hate that, a lot of people think Christians are hypocritical. And some of them are, and some of them are very judgmental. But overall, they're all good people trying to save souls. So I'm not going to knock us all the way down. But, the sad part about this is so many good people that's out there that don't look like a Christian, don't act or talk or walk the walk like a Christian. They have a lot to say out there to help people that they could reach them faster than I could reach them. Like if I'm in the hood, as somebody say, I can't reach the thug life or anything like that. Maybe somebody else can who's trying to convert over and become a Christian. They would listen more to that person than they would listen to me.
And that's true, but we've got to make an attempt to hear them. Mm-hmm. It's like that movie, I forgot what it just went out of my mind, when he said, I see you, Avatar. I see you. Is it Avatar?
Avatar.
I see you.
Mm-hmm.
We got to start seeing our brothers and sisters, regardless to what they're in. I mean, I don't agree with some. I'm gonna talk about this later. I don't agree with everything that Farrakhan says, but Farrakhan has been preaching systemic racism since the beginning. There's a show back in 1990 where it's showing Farrakhan on the Phil Donahue show talking about institutional racism. There's a show that came on in the 60s where Malcolm X was talking about racism in America. We're still talking about that now. But the fact of the matter, people get mad when Farrakhan says something, but Father Flagler says the same thing.
And we listening more to him.
And here's the thing that troubles me. Because Farrakhan says it, he's being radical, when Father Flagler says he's being righteous. They're saying the same thing. It's because you're looking at a black man that's saying, hey, this is wrong, stop doing it. Farrakhan's been talking for the longest about respecting our blackness, respecting our sisters, respecting our mothers, respecting our fathers. Stop crime against each other. Stop doing this thing. This is the same thing that Father Flagler is saying now. It's nothing new to the black community what leaders are talking about that, but one is being radical and one is being righteous. Why is that when they're saying the same thing?
Man, it makes me think of Malcolm and Martin. One is being righteous and one is being radical. And in this situation, it's like, okay, Farrakhan has been around a very long time. And are you saying the people who seeing him as radical is African Americans or the world?
It's just the world. I mean, not a lot of, there are some blacks that think that African Americans think that he is, but the world in general looks at him as being radical or because some of the things that he says, because when he was with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, they were talking about the separation. We need to separate, and we don't want to be with the white people. So, and you're like, okay, you're in the United States. That might be kind of hard for you to separate yourself in the United States as a country of African Americans. So that might be a little bit difficult, but they were looking at some of the things he said as being radical and causing issues, because he was saying, hey, if you're going to shoot me, shouldn't I defend myself?
There you go.
You know, and they didn't like that, you know, but, you know, that's what the radical part is. But he's been talking about lifting up the unity of African Americans for a long time. Now, I don't agree with everything that he says, but I do know that I'd say about 90% of the things that he's saying is true about what is happening to the African American culture and the systemic racism that happened in it. But going back, we have to look at ourselves as Christians and saying, why won't you listen to Killer Mike and what he's saying? Why aren't you listening to T.I. and what he's saying? Why aren't you listening to other rappers and something that he's saying? That's what hip hop and rap was talking about a lot of times. It was a lot of cursing words in there, but they were talking about the injustice that policemen were doing to African Americans. We didn't like that. Oh, you don't have to have all that foul language. No, you don't have to call your woman a B. Come on now, you don't have to do that. But inside what they were saying, there was a lot of truth. And what we have to do as Christians is start saying, hey, let's filter out some of the things that we don't like and really see what they're saying and see if we can get together with what they're saying, and maybe we can change that KKK mentality into a Christian mentality, or that worldly mentality into a Christian mentality. Just not saying, well, you don't believe in Christ and we can't work with you. Or you got to believe in what we do. The bottom line is that you got to come to Christ. My bottom line should never be that you got to come to Christ. My bottom line is to offer Christ and give you the ability to accept it. That doesn't mean I can't work with you on common grounds on what we see that is wrong in this world, and come together as Christians and non-Christians and say, hey, this is not a Christian non-Christian thing. This is a African American issue that we need to come together and work on.
Tracy has said, I think people are afraid of some deliveries and block out the message. That is very true, because just what you was saying, the guy was probably an ex-drug dealer or a gang member, then T.I. is a rapper and an actor and stuff. Now, usually people pay attention to celebrities with stuff, but it's a stigma when it's the rappers, the hip-hop group. We just think, oh, we put them in a box and we say, okay, their stuff that they put out there need to be censored. The stuff that they put out there is not good for America. It's making our race look bad. But you know what? Regardless of how we feel about them, they're speaking their truth of what they know. And like you said, filter out all of the foul language. You know, there's some work to be had and done with this. You got to filter that out and pay attention to what they are saying. I love the fact that you have African American men from every walk, every corner of the earth on a stage, have a platform that's telling us how they feel and what's going on. And you think about that group of people know more probably of what's going on outside than what we know. So that's why I said the collaboration can be great. If we just get past the fact of not judging one another, we could work with other people who look like us but don't act like us.
And I'm going to say this, church people understand me, don't get mad at me, don't want to listen to the show no more. But we're gonna fall in the bottom of the barrel if we don't start listening to these people out here talking and try to collaborate with them in the name of Christ. We can't sit there and say, well, we're going to do our own thing. This is the younger generation, okay? The younger generation in a lot of cases do not trust the church because they think we weak and we just going to follow whatever's going on. I don't know too many weak pastors. I mean, there's probably some out there, but not the ones I've been around. But the assumption is we're just gonna want to go for peace. We're just gonna want, let's just all get along, and that is not the case. But we need to find out where they are and say, hey, I understand that. I agree with you on that. It's not that I'm just gonna sit down and just allow them to say anything they want to me and just accept it. I'm with you on this. But let's put a plan, an action plan together, how we can do this in a way that we can receive what we want in a peaceful protest, in a peaceful manner, than a violent manner. Let's see if we can do that. Because if we can set the tone with the rappers and the singers and the athletes, and they can start coming and say, I'm trusting the church on this as well because they're backing me on my beliefs, on my ideas, on my philosophy. I'm gonna back them on that. I mean, like I said, I was listening to this, Killer Mike. He's talking about you ain't got to move guns in Chicago. Give them jobs. We've been talking about that for a long time. You want to take away guns in Chicago, but you want to take the guns away from the African Americans. We ain't taking the guns away from anybody else. So if the Second Amendment right says that we have the right to bear arms, if you want to remove guns in Chicago, then everybody should be removed from a gun from Chicago. Don't just say you're going to do it and it's going to happen in the inner city and we happy about that. Well, no. That's not going to remove poverty in Chicago. It might remove guns. And then the bad thing about it, the people who bring the guns into the African American communities are not African Americans. So then you need to deal with that if you want to move guns. But understand when these people say, hey, you're focusing on guns in Chicago, there's a lot of those brothers just like me, because that's what, Killer Mike said, just like me, who wants to put my guns down, who wants to stop selling drugs. But when the economy doesn't give me the opportunity to do anything else but sell drugs, I'm going to be an entrepreneur on what I have. And so that doesn't make that right because you're hurting your people. But how do you tell somebody I'm not going to live without giving them something to live with other than saying, hey, I'm going to bring you in these drugs. They're illegal. You don't have the capability to bring all these drugs, so I'm going to bring them in for you. You got to find a way to sell it without going to jail, because if you get caught with this, you're going to go to jail for 20 years for a nickel bag, but this is going to be the only way you can survive in life. Then that's people are going to sit there and say, I got to survive. Now, it's not the right thing to do, but how we've got to show them the right thing to do and make it available for them. So we got to start fighting for low interest loans in our communities. Talk about that when I say, it's your future, shut up and speak. But that's what we need to do. We need to listen to them and see where they're coming from. Because I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to be 60 years old. I'm not a young man anymore. I'm AARP young man now. I need to know what that young brother at 20 needs from me. As a black man who has lived 60 years, what does he need from me that I can help him with? So he doesn't make the mistakes of selling crack cocaine or being in a gang or being in jail. What can I do? And if I can't figure that out as a Christian man, then I'm failing him. I don't care if he believes in Christ or not. I'm failing him if I don't listen to him to see what he needs.
I'm just in awe of all of this because we really do, as Christians, need to wake up and work together instead of, like I said again, instead of judging each other, because we hit hard when we don't feel comfortable with someone. We talking about within our race, but when we don't feel comfortable with them, we're dogging them out. Don't even know them, but we dogging them out. Don't want to be nowhere near them. Don't like what they stand for because it might diminish your reputation of what you stand for. But like I said, right now, it is time to do, just like they do in the music business, some great collaboration. We done seen rappers get together with country singers and end up winning a Grammy. We need to win the Grammy Board to Christ with our, I'm not saying street thugs or anything like that. The opposite of what you believe in as a Christian. You need to open your eyes and say, you know what, we need to go there. Because like Rick said, we're going to be at the bottom of the barrel, scratching and get up and like, what's going on? What's happening? They tried to tell us, but we turned a deaf ear because they didn't look the way we look.
So what's wrong with me working with someone that we claim is a thug? Which, what is a thug anyway? It's like...
You know
I'm just saying, but
the hate you give.
Yeah, that was an excellent movie we saw too. But it's just the fact that we have these abbreviations, negative abbreviations about each other. Is it something wrong? Let me tell you something. The United States was built on thugs. Do you know who came into this world to take over from the Indians, it was thugs.
They were gangster
and they were religious thugs who came there, took over the country, and told these native Indians, you're gonna have to start living our way. Those are gangster thugs. That's what. So if that's the case, then the whole United States has been built on thuggery. Because they came in here like gangsters and took something away from somebody, not trying to share it, but just take it.
Take it.
You know. And so I don't have an issue with working with a brother who somebody wants to call as a thug, who wants me to hear him, and he'll listen to me. And maybe somehow we can collaborate. I love that word, collaborate on something that we can change. Not if it's not the world, maybe the community.
You know, you said a good point there where they need to listen to us and we need to listen to them. And once we could communicate within each other and hear each other, I hear you. What was that statement you and Vanessa was saying?
I hear you and I see you. I see you
right.
and I hear you.
And we need to do that instead of saying like, if they're not like me, they're like children. You know how when we grew up, it was children are made to be seen, not heard. We're not trying to do that. We all adults here. We want to be seen and we want to be heard in a good way so we could work together. Because once we on the same team, I promise you it would get better. But long as we stay divided within each other, we can't do nothing out there talking about, we need to just disperse racism.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that we need to do. So church people, let's start doing. I love that. I said I made this up. I had to do it as a shirt. Let's start looking at our people and saying, I see you and I hear you. We got to start going out there and start hearing them, seeing them where they are, and say, I see you and I hear you. What can I do to help? If I can't bring you into the building, maybe I can come to your block. Maybe I can come to on your street. Maybe I can come to your house. Maybe I can sit on your porch and just talk. Because if you don't come to the church, can you bring God to them?
Yes, you can. Speaking of that, I remember when you did prison ministry, and I went with you a couple of times, and I don't know which prison this was. I was so petrified.
East Moline.
It was East Moline. I was so petrified going with Rick to hear him preach more so of that stigma. Everybody here just stay in prison. They must committed the crime and the blah, 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 blah. They were the sweetest, the nicest inmates ever. I felt so protected by them. When my husband was up on that platform preaching and they were behind me, I was like, Lord Jesus, just praying the whole time. And then God just put a still calm over me. And in the words of Brenda, I got you. And once he did that, I heard that voice of God that way, because that's how we relate. I remember slightly turning around, and I don't know if it was a correctional officer or someone. They just nodded their head like, you safe, don't worry. They were really nice. And that, like I said, the stigma that we have on people, we do know everyone in prison is not in prison for something that they done.
Hey, we saw that on the on the news.
Dateline 2020 or something.
Tulsa, Oklahoma, where they had over 245 people that they were working on at that time who were imprisoned and was wrongly imprisoned. That's what I'm trying to say. Hey, we got to go on with this. I'm going to say the prison time was one of my best times. I enjoyed that so much. Did it over a decade, and really enjoyed going around the state of Illinois to different prisons and preaching the word with my good friend Wyndham McCaster. So, hey, listen up, everybody. We've got a couple of more things we're going to share right now. I want you to go on Facebook and catch us there. We're going to share some stories on there. But for you all that are on Soar Radio, listen up to these songs we're going to be playing. Hey, sometimes as Christians, we just got to keep the faith. That's what Charles Jenkins is going to say. And then once we find out that God is going to do exceedingly and abundantly more than we can ask or think, we just got to be like Kirk Franklin and say, 1, 2, 3, victory. And my boy is going to come back with another song. This is our namesake. Al Green going to say, hey, after we find all this victory and joy, we got to stay together. Hey, this is Rick McCain along with my baby, my girl, my boo. author Brendan McCain. Tracy Brown is social distancing on Facebook. Hey, listen up to these songs and we'll be right back.
What are you waiting for? Go tell your friends. Let's Stay Together Talk is jamming some great gospel music. Rick, drop that spirit on me.
All right. So we're going to go on and let the music play there. Hey, thank you all for listening to us on the Facebook page here. Go tell some friends that you out there that you're listening to us. We appreciate that. My baby's going to come up with some things she's going to be talking about, but I hope you all enjoy that. We do as Christians have to definitely work with each other. I mean, you know, we cannot say that we're a child of God and then we look down on other people. So let's get that out of our mantra and start working with God's people everywhere. What you got for me?
What's coming up? Okay, let's just see if I can pull this down. Rick, show your shirt.
Okay.
He's showing his.
It's kind of hard. The thing just went there. There's my shirt right there.
Mine's is kind of delayed, but
I'll
it's
let
going
you
to
get
show
up.
in a minute, and I'm kind of
Juneteenth.
like stuck. Mine's is Juneteenth Chew, which we know was last Thursday, and we showed up and showed out, which was beautiful. I loved it. That everybody was actually participating in this day. But what I do want to start off with is a story with Amazon. Amazon workers in Chicago are reportedly outraged after they were provided chicken and waffles to celebrate Juneteenth. Now, y'all know, y'all love some chicken and waffles. And y'all know the Waffle House in Bronzeville?
Yeah.
It's a place we try to hit up all the time. Okay, the intentions was good, but it went south. Because on that particular day of Juneteenth, we do not want any chicken and waffles that day because it has that stench to it. Not the food, but we all know that this annual holiday, which should be a federal holiday, on that particular day, you know, that's that typical stereotype in slavery that's what we was provided to eat. So on that particular day, just because we were free this day, we don't want that. But I must admit, y'all know those chicken and waffles are good, but like I said, just not on that day.
Well, you know what? I read the story and it didn't bother me as much. I can see people being upset. Sometimes we get upset about everything. But what didn't bother me is that they offered it, and correct me if I'm wrong, to everyone. So it wasn't just a meal for the African Americans, chicken and waffles. They offered a meal that African Americans eat, which is chicken and waffles. Now, I don't eat chicken and waffles. I don't like waffles, so I don't really eat chicken and waffles. I like chicken, but I'm not going to eat that. But I didn't get bent out of shape about it because when I saw that it was something they were offering to everyone at Amazon, I didn't really get bothered by it as much. And I think that maybe, you know, we're taking some things and we're heightening everything. Oh, that's racist. Oh, that's racist. And I think they, if I'm mistaken, they bought it from an African-American chicken and waffles place.
A black-owned business.
Black-owned business, and they would celebrate. Now, I thought their intentions were nice, but, you got to be careful almost everything now. And I think that in some cases, that to me wasn't too bad. I'm like, come on now.
I do want to say this. They said the decision to offer the meal was made by local leadership, including the site leader, who is black. CNBC reports. Now, the meal has become a racist chicken and waffles stereotype that has roots in the film Birth of a Nation, the silent movie from the early 1900s that portrays the Ku Klux Klan as heroic. So they attach chicken and waffles to that, and the intentions of doing something good just went right out the window.
Yeah, I think that they're stretching that a little bit. Hey, before we go on to the next thing, I want to say, in the election in Kentucky, for all you all might be in Kentucky, Charles Booker right now is running for the Senate seat against Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham is one of those Republicans that we definitely need to get out of the office there. And there's a Jamie Harrison running for Senate in South Carolina against Mitch McConnell. I think the Kentucky race, the preliminary race for the Democrat that runs against Lindsey Graham is today. People are arguing about the fact that they only have like one polling place in the whole city of Louisiana. Louisiana. Is that Louisiana? I'm sorry, Kentucky. And they're kind of frustrated because they think that people they're doing this on purpose. But if you're into the Kentucky area, please go out and vote. Have us on your radio and go out and vote.
Tracy did say it's a Southern meal, and again, it's the delivery. I love chicken and waffles. I do too, Tracy.
Yeah, I mean, now nothing was said that they didn't eat the chicken and waffles. They just
Right.
got upset about it. Like, this is making me mad. It's racist. Man, this waffle is good. So we don't know if that's happening or not. What you got for us next?
Okay, Chicago is reopening phase 4 for the city this Friday. Mayor Lightfoot says that we've been doing good with the social distancing. The cases are going down. I'm not even on the fence. I think it's still too soon because one, the reason that the cases were going down is because we were social distancing. Now you're about to operate restaurants at what have 25% of the capacity, that is no more than a maximum of 50 people per space inside and 100 people outside. YMCA is opening up the swimming that people could go to. It's just so many different things that it's going to pike back up because one is summer. People going to be social distancing going to be thrown out the window because everybody going to be right back out there. But I know you have to get the economy working again.
Yeah, and I have to say, Lori Lightfoot, Mayor Lightfoot, has been doing an excellent job.
She has.
Working on this. She's been getting a lot of criticism from people talking about open up. You heard your idiot president say, if you didn't hear that, he says, we're testing too much because we testing too much, we're getting too many positive results or cases. Stop testing and we won't get so many results. That's stupid. But she's really done a good job in breaking it out in phases to keep the population of coronavirus cases in the city of Chicago down, same as the governor is doing as well. So I'm not against that because I think that he's doing well. She's doing well on that. But I know some people are still hesitant. If we continue where we're going, and in some states they're just going up because people are not following rules and regulations. We continue to follow rules and regulations, I think we'll be fine. I see Steven says, Lindsey Graham is South Carolina.
Do you mean Mitch
Oh,
McConnell?
okay, so that's right. I'm sorry. I do have it the wrong way. Lindsey Graham is in South Carolina, and I think Mitch McConnell is in Kentucky. So I did have it wrong. Thanks, Stephen, for pointing that out. I got it wrong on this paper. Lindsey Graham is in South Carolina, and Mitch McConnell's in Kentucky. But both of them need to go. That is for sure. Sellers family, Sellers Pastor. I'm gonna call him Pastor Vines. How you doing? Good to see you there.
Vines.
We got some. What we got else? What else are we gonna talk about?
Okay, so we through with the Chicago opening up.
Yeah.
Just be safe, people.
Be
Please.
safe. Yes. Wear your mask.
Safe.
Walk around with a mask on. Come on.
Okay, this is one that is close to my heart. I'm joking, but it's a good one. The billionaire CEO behind Bratz, BRATZ, and LOL Surprise, Dow's called the black influencer who accused them of plagiarism a disgrace to black people. This young lady, her name is Musiolo. It's a weird name. It's not weird, I'm sorry. It's an odd name for me to pronounce. She goes by Studio Mucci on Instagram, and I believe they said she had 300,000 followers. This young lady, she put it out there, she's bisexual and has autism. She's 35 years old, and her platform is to encourage people. She's very eccentric. I wish I had the pictures, but she's very eccentric. And she said that this billionaire who created the Bratz dolls stole her imagery. And if you look at the pictures, you will see it's no doubt that he did or someone from his company did, and she didn't get any credit for it. So she's a woman with a voice, and she spoke out. And she challenged him to do the right thing, either acknowledge her or just pull it. And of course, he clapped back, and some words were said. Eventually, he apologized for it. I don't know what else came behind it, but it is kind of sad that he could denounce and say, "Oh, this doll don't look like her." If you see the pictures, and we'll have to pull that out, the doll looks exactly like her.
Tracy's pretty good with pulling pictures like that. I know you're out there. Maybe you can pull a picture and share it with it. But I mean, if you look at the picture of this young lady, of this Bratz doll, I mean, they have the colors that she has on. They got the colors. She got a little
Hair.
purse on like the girl be wearing. Her hair. I mean, the whole thing reminds you of this individual. Mm-hmm. And so for them to say that it's not her, I mean, you almost want to say, can we do a doll DNA test?
Yeah.
Because that doll looks so much like her. It is amazing for them to say that. And so I think she has a point that they did copy her image, and they should just admit it and pay her some money for it. But that's what they don't want to do. You stole somebody's image, and then you want to make sure, oh, well, it's not you. Stop lying. You know it's that girl. Just give her some money and let her, have her a part of the Bratz family. And let her walk around and, she could probably sell the doll to a lot of African American girls.
She would be the real live doll
Right.
walking around.
She could, yeah. And so, I mean, give her some props for it. She caught you. You lied.
Mm-hmm.
Do the right thing, as Spike Lee was saying.
And
Do the right thing.
people were saying she didn't know it at first, but people brought it to her. Now, this young lady said the replica hairstyle was when she celebrated her 35th birthday, and she wore that hairstyle from November 2018 to February 2019. And according to the company, the doll in question, Rainbow Raver is what they call her, was released in June 2019. So come on, y'all seen her pictures out there.
You know that Alex O'Neal thing? You a fake, baby. No way to conceal it. You know how I know? Because you stole the image. You a fake.
Mm-hmm.
What you
Big
got?
old fake.
What's the next thing we got?
Okay, I have to get a sip of that water. Rayshard. Oh, Rayshard widow. Rayshard Brooks widow gifted a car, life insurance, college tuition for her kids. And just to, let you know who the Rayshard was, that was the guy that was shot at the Wendy's, was it last week or 2 weeks ago in Atlanta? Yeah. So by Officer Garrett Roth. And beautiful thing, the people in Atlanta has came together, and she got a new Ford Escape, already paid for, even though none of the stuff will bring back her husband. Yeah. It's the fact that the community just rallied around her, and her children said, okay, you guys are not going to go through this alone. Bought her a car, gave her the keys to the car.
Paid for the insurance.
Paid the insurance on the car, got life insurance for the kids, and paying for college tuition for the kids. Now this is a beautiful story, but the name that got me from the man Derek Hayes, who owned these businesses, slutty vegan owner Pinky Cole, and Big Dave's Cheesesteaks owner Derek Hayes. He got a good heart, and he must be making a lot of business.
All right, we're about to get ready to come back on the air, so
Spiritual food for the soul.
join us now. Back on the air.
Welcome back to Let's Stay Together Talk.
All right, welcome back to Let's Stay Together Talk. Your host, Reverend Rick McCain, along with my baby, my girl, my boo, author Brenda McCain, Tracy Brown Howard, doing her social distancing online with us as well. We've been talking about some great things here. You had a couple of stories you was talking about on Facebook. Is there one interesting story that you wanted to share online that you shared there?
The Amazon, the Juneteenth. Amazon served all of their workers and workers, some waffles and chicken last Thursday, and the employees got a little offended by that. On that particular day, you were served us waffles and chicken. As I said before, the intent was beautiful, just to serve them because they know this is not a federal day for people to have a holiday, but they just want to do something nice, and people got offended, and I think they took it a little too far to be offended.
And I was just saying, if they were just giving it to all the black employees there, that might have been considered offensive or racist. But they were offering it to all of the employees there on Juneteenth, and they were patronizing a black business. So that that's a lot of money that's going to that black business to buy that. And so I think the intent was nice. They may have maybe shared it with the people and say, hey, this is something we're thinking about doing, buying this from this so we can help the black business there. What is your thoughts about this? I mean, that may have been a better idea, but I do think their intentions were admirable. It wasn't to be racist or anything like that. And it just went about it, the wrong way. I think now we're so racially motivated. Everything is almost that's wrong. And everything is not wrong. And I don't believe that. I'm not an Amazon employee. I am a Prime member. I don't believe that. But I'm gonna just say, joking. Nothing said anything about on that story that said that they didn't accept that food. So they probably said, yes, this is racist. This chicken is good.
Pass our slurp over here.
I didn't hear anything about them turning it down. So obviously it didn't bother them as much. Hey, we're going to go on with our show here, and we're going to start talking about our Let's Talk About It subject. And I got music here somewhere for that, but a lot of times I just don't click on things. Something just popped up. I'm like, what the heck is that? Let's talk. Let me see if I can find. This is what I always say. I always need somebody else to do this for me. But hey, listen up to this, and we're gonna be right back.
Hey, turn that television off and join us live on Facebook. Go to Let's Stay Together Talk now, and let's talk about it.
All right, so let's talk about it. So y'all may have seen that out there. This is something I wrote out there. It says, let's talk about it thing, and saying it's your future. So shut up and speak. Like, what is he talking about when he says it's your future, shut up and speak? I've been on my soapbox about this for a while. I think a lot of times we are talking loud and saying nothing as the African American community. We're protesting, we're standing up for a lot of things. We're upset about this. I love the fact that the protesters are still going out there. But I think a lot of people are saying no justice, no peace, and we're just speaking and we're just talking. We're not speaking about anything. So I'm saying, hey, shut up. It's your future. Shut up and speak. Shut up with all this complaining is what I'm talking about. Stop complaining about what police officers are doing to you and start making a difference. You can speak about it by going to your local government. Who is your alderman? Who is your congressman? Who's the principal of your school? Who's making decisions for your education and your school system? If you're not concerned about that, if you're not in meetings, if you're not doing that, it's your future. Shut up then. It's time for you to speak about things that are really going to affect you. You can't just go out there and protest, say I was a part of the protest, and that's the only thing you're doing, then shut up. Because you're not making any decision. Let me tell you something. They know that these protesters are eventually going to stop. What they're worried about is what happens next. If they start seeing us organizing in our communities, in our cities, and saying, hey, now we protest, we got our anger out the way, now we got a plan. If you ain't got a plan that's going to make a difference in your community, then shut up and start speaking. Start talking to the people that make a difference in your community. It's like me. I can't say anything about what goes on in South Holland if I don't never go to a meeting in South Holland. Now, unfortunately, what they do here is they have them at 8 o'clock in the morning when you're supposed to go to work. But you need to start saying, hey, we need to have these meetings where people can come to.
Yeah.
We need to start forcing our congressmen to say, hey, in churches, I'm going to jump on the church. You can talk about Jesus all you want to. Amen. God bless you. But you need to start talking about what's going on in the community. What do we need to do in this community? If you're not doing that, shut up.
So what's that saying? Say it loud. I'm black and I'm proud. Are we only black and proud when we doing marching and protesting and rioting? When it comes to do the due diligence work or going to these town hall meetings, going to the alderman, going to find out, better yet, registering to vote. You could be heard so much when you register to vote and then go vote. Half of the people, well, nothing's ever going to change. You don't know that. Shut up and go speak. Shut up and do what you need to do.
Yeah, if you're voting and you see something like an appellate judge or a circuit judge or a judge there, and because you don't know who they are, you decide that you're just going to go past that, then shut up and start speaking. Start speaking to yourself and saying, I need to know who these people are. Because they're the ones that are making the decisions on if your child goes to jail or not. You don't even know who those judges are. You should be there trying to say, hey, this judge here that they got on this ballot, he done sent 54% of African Americans to prison.
And you didn't even know that.
Why am I voting for him to be in there for 6 more years when his record shows that he's been more negative toward African Americans than he is to anybody else? He doesn't care about the rights of African. Then if you don't know that, you not voting for him doesn't mean that he's not going to get in there. A lot of them run uncontested. You need to, so you need to, before that person get on the ballot, know who he is. You go to your congressman and say, hey, who's going to be the judges and stuff in our district? Congressman, who's making educational decisions in our district? When you going to sit down and come to a PTA meeting, or you going to come to one of our church meetings and tell us what's going on in our community? Who is this person that's going to be the new superintendent over schools? Who is this person? Who is the superintendent over schools in Chicago? What do we know about him? You need to start Googling and finding out. There's a lot of stuff out there you can find out, but if it's your future, especially for our young people, it's your future. If you just gonna sit there and say, well, I ain't voting, then shut up. I'm sorry, shut up and start speaking. Because you're not doing yourself any justice. You can't sit there and say, I'm mad about this police brutality. You ain't voted on anything. People are coming together to try to defund policemen. Now, in a way, that's a good thing and bad thing. I think we need to start making sure that we govern them more and make them more accountable. Do we necessarily want them out of schools? If we take them out of schools, who's going to protect the teachers? Because these teachers are getting their butt kicked in these schools.
Yes, they do.
So we don't want the policemen around. Well, then what's going to happen when one of these bad kids start kicking the teacher's butt? She ain't going to want to teach in your community.
And that's a good teacher gone.
You ain't going to kick my butt and I'm just going to sit there and come back the next day and try to teach Johnny. Johnny just whooped my butt. I'm not doing that. So you need to start saying, hey, what do we need to do to make sure that this is not happening in our community? You just can't sit there, but that policeman shouldn't have pulled Johnny out like that. Johnny just kicked the teacher's butt. Can we say something wrong about what Johnny just did?
But Johnny's a child.
But Johnny be good, like the song said. Johnny needs to be good. Stop just complaining about something. It's your future. It's your child's future. It's young people. It's your future. Mama, it's your child's future. Shut up with all this complaining about something and get off of your butt and know what's happening in your community. If you're not doing that, your words are wasted. You're wasting my time. It's just words that are going up in the air that don't mean anything. They disappear without any kind of volume, any kind of force, any kind of demand. It's just arguing. I'm mad. Mad at what? What the police are doing. Okay, Did you vote the last time for who was your alderman? Tell your alderman, hey, if you don't start getting the police better policemen in our areas, getting rid of these corrupt policemen, when your turn comes up the next time, I'm getting rid of you. Who is your local official? Do you know?
No, half of them don't know.
And if you do know who your alderman is, have you met him? Have you talked to him? Have you sat down with other organizations that might be in your community and sat there and said, hey, we need to start making sure that things in our communities work? Have you sat down with your alderman and said, we need you to go to our mayor and get low interest loans so we can start buying housing in our community? Mm-hmm. They have those low interest loans in the white communities. Why can't we have that here? We need low interest loans so we can have business in our community. We want to stop having people coming in our community and they're not African American. They're not like us. We need to empower ourselves. If you're not empowering your voice, shut up. Stop all this
because
whining
somebody
and complaining.
else is empowering your silence. So that's what the cliche, not the cliche, the motto or the theme for this election is: we can't be silent anymore. I mean, all that protesting and we're still silent out here. People need to wake up. I mean, seriously, wake up and really not just like that's saying stay woke. Okay, we woke up everything negative of what the other races are doing to us, or the Caucasian race. But what are we doing to help ourselves?
Right, and you know what? It's wrong what they're doing. It's wrong what police officers doing. It's wrong that police officer shot that man because he was able to get away from both of them, and then all of a sudden now they want to shoot him, and then the man get mad to him, I got him, and kick him. It's wrong. But if that's all you're going to say is wrong, then shut up. We already know it's wrong. What are you going to do within that community to make sure that wrong never happens again? What are we going to do? I'm loving the fact that these police officers are being fired. I'm loving the fact that they're being imprisoned and they're being sentenced for crimes, murder and stuff like that. That's what they need to be doing. But we need to make sure that in every community in the United States, especially African American community, that we're not just griping about it and walking about it. We're talking about it. We're speaking about it. We're listening. We're coming together. We're collaborating with other groups of people. This is one of the first times in my life I've seen all races coming together and talking about the injustice for African Americans. We need to work together and say, hey, so now we know what's our plan. What do we want for this community? Because the community in Kentucky, the community in South Carolina, going to be different than the community in Chicago. You're going to have different wants and needs. You got to get together with a plan and start working with some of these groups and say, hey, we want to start working with you now. We're tired of just getting frustrated, because the only thing that's going to happen, and what the government is hoping that happens, is that you're just going to complain and protest for a little while, and then you're going to shut up and not speak. So that's why I said, shut up and speak. Yeah. That's what they want you to do. They'll shut up and stop speaking in a while. So we need to shut up and start speaking. Please. Because if we don't, all they're going to do is say, hey, just give it a while. It'll settle down. Things will go back to way normal. Police will start killing, like they used to. And the black people probably saying, we're used to this. Yeah. No. This is a too important time to sit there. This is us doing our protesting to the society and to you by saying you have to do more than just protest. Colin Kaepernick lost his job because he protests. And even now today, the whole thing and athletes are now sitting around, hey, this brother shouldn't have been that way. You need to give him his job back. You need to do this. You need to do that. Now, they didn't stand up from the way they were supposed to do back then because they was afraid of losing their job. But now at this pivotal time, we cannot let this go away. Yeah. We cannot just complain and argue about it. We have to start saying something. Use your voice. I mean, heck, you got all these social media things out here. Use your voice. Start throwing out information on there. I'm throwing out there, stay woke,
and
Black Power, this, that.
We're using our voice. This is our platform to do that as in the media entertainment world. And I do want to say this, people, once again, as the topic is your future, so shut up and speak. You have to make a difference and go out there because you are afforded so many opportunities right now to do so. And social media is your way to do it. If you're not a protester out there marching, do what we do. I mean, some people do have a podcast, radio shows, and some people they care not to talk about it. Okay, that's your liberty to do that. That's your opinions. You don't want to be involved, but whatever you have, and if you're complaining and not doing anything, then there lies the problem. You have to be able to use your voice for the greater good because, as we know, as our show say, let's stay together, tall. We all in this together. Everything works like a domino effect. From this racism thing going on for hundreds and hundreds of years to the COVID. Everything is still a domino effect affecting everyone. So again, shut up and speak. And I do want to say I put the information out there about the brass dial. So for those who are listening on Soar Radio, you could tune in, or if you can, to our Facebook page on Let's Stay Together Talk. For our Facebook family who's joining us now, go to the page. Of course, you're on the page. You will see the similarity with that dial.
So, and going back to what we were
I just
talking
wanted to put that on that.
We've got to start doing more, and I'm calling on my young people. I mean, because they're so savvy, they're so intelligent. They know how to use this social media. They were talking about how Trump got trumped because people was using TikTok, acting like they wanted to come to his meetings, and then they didn't come, and so he thought he was going to have an overflow of 100-something thousand people, and there was only 6,000 people, and it really made him look bad. We have a voice. We have a voice like we've never had before. You've got social media. You got cameras. You can put something on live just like that. You have a voice. I wish when we were younger we had a voice like this. When I was in my 20s and stuff like that, had a voice to say something. We've got African American athletes now that are saying because Mississippi hasn't taken down the Confederate flag, you had an athlete saying, "I'm not going to play football for your team this year if you don't take that flag down." Now that's hurt. That can hurt him in the long run because he might not be able to, be that high ranked when he goes to the NFL. But he stood for something and said, "I'm not gonna let this violence that is happening to my community happen anymore." Athletes and artists and rappers and everybody's standing up. This is the time. Don't just sit there and just complain. Now these athletes and rappers and stuff like that, they're using their money to make a difference. You may be like me and don't have any money, but you got social media. Facebook is still free. Twitter is still free. TikTok is still free. Instagram is still free. You have a voice that you can use. So use that voice and start speaking, and then start collaborating with each other and start bringing groups of people together. That's how Black Lives Matter started. Sisters coming together and saying enough is enough, and look how big that thing is now. It ain't important it was a sister, but they came together and did that. And so come together, grab some people with some like minds of yours and start off. Just because if there's two of you, the Bible says where 2 or 3 are gathered, he'll be in the midst. You got to start saying to yourself that it starts here. Somebody's got to start something. You got a voice. Speak. If you ain't going to do anything, shut up. Because that's all they want you to do. I'm going to say this again. What the government and people in position and power believe that you're going to do is you're going to protest for a while, and then you're going to shut up and not speak. So that's why I said, shut up and speak. Because they feel you ain't going to do anything else. I love the fact that these protests are still going on. But after it's over, we got to wake up, everybody. We got to wake up and start fighting and fighting. That's why we're doing this on this show. We're educating people. Voting. Voting is crucial. I love Snoop Dogg, but he told me I'm going to do something I haven't done in a while ever. I'm going to vote.
He woke up, though.
I'm like, yeah, he woke up, and I'm like, dude, you just realizing that? Come on. Vote. You got to vote. And you got to know what you're voting for. And I'm going to say this. I'm not for just voting Democrat. I'm sorry. Democrats use us like the Republicans did when we was back in that day. We're like slaves to them. They just figured that you're gonna get the black vote. No, Biden, what you gonna do for me? What you gonna do for the black community? I don't want Trump in there, but I sure don't want you in there, and you ain't doing nothing better than him. You got to show me why my vote counts to you. Your vote has power. Make him request. I sent something over to South Carolina, and one of the people there was running against I think Lindsey Graham, and I said to her, before I put your stuff out there, tell me what you're going to do for the black communities in your neighborhood. I never got a response back. Your vote matters, and you tell somebody if you want it, you got to give me something. What are you going to do in my community? Alderman, you up for election. You know, let that alderman know, because that alderman, he's going to let you know when he needs you, but you need to let him know before he needs you. Hey, your vote's coming up in another 2 years.
Well, that reminds me of the football player you were just talking about. Before he joined, was this a college team or something? He got leverage. Before I join your team, take that statue down. And I mean, if it messes him up in the future, which I doubt, but you know, you got to use your leverage, know your playing field of what's going on. And a lot of people don't know how much power they have.
They don't know it. You've got to know the power. So I'm going to stay on this high horse, y'all. The topic of the thing was shut up and speak. And I'm going to say this again before we leave. What government officials and people in government think about this protesting we're doing is that it's going to wear down, we're going to have no plan, and we're going to shut up and not speak anymore. And we can't let that happen. So I say, shut up and speak. Once the protesting is over, start telling them, demanding from your local officials. Because let me tell you something real quick. When Trump said he was going to come into some of these states, and he said with the protesting, I'll come over there and I'll stop it, I'll bring the military and stuff like that, legally he couldn't do it. Every state had the power to say yay or nay if he can come in there. He could say whatever he wanted to, but based on the Constitution, the state had to give the approval. It has to go state and then the local mayor. So if they have that much power to stop the president from sending armies into a city or a state without authorization from the governor or the mayor, then your local government has a lot of power that you could tap into to receive. So start learning about what's happening in your local governments. So when you vote, you're knowledgeable and you have a power base. And you can go to that person and say, here is our demands. If you can meet this, then we'll vote for you. If you can't, we won't. And if you lied to us, we'll let people know you did. And you will be a one-term person. And what we're going to try to do, our best is to get you out before it's time. Because we want you to resign. And we're going to tell people why you should resign. And force you to honor our demands. Hey, I got to go. I'm going to be on my high horse for a while. Hey, let me tell you something. Let's talk, shut up and speak. After we get a plan together, we need to wake up. And my guy, Harold Melvin, in the Blue Notes, the McCain Train Request is going to come up with, wake up, everybody. So listen out to the McCain Train Request. This is your host, Reverend Rick McCain, along with my baby, my girl, my boo, Arthur Brenda McCain, and Tracy Brown Howard. Social distancing on Facebook. Hey, we'll be right back after this McCain Train song.
You are listening to the McCain Train Request here on Summer Radio.
You got another thing you're going to talk about? You got another thing you're going to talk about? On here?
Yeah, but I was
Okay, go
going to
ahead.
do that. Okay. Another topic that caught our attention.
Thank you all for being here. Go ahead, babe.
Baltimore restaurant apologizes to African American mom and son duo for shocking discrimination. This restaurant is called the Atlas Restaurant Group. Mother and son was going there to have lunch probably, and they did not get seated at the table because They hear them. Someone, thank God for these phones out here. You can video record everything. Someone heard the manager tell them they cannot be seated because her son's wardrobe violated the restaurant's dress code. Now, the kicker to this is, or as they say, here's the problem. There was another child in the restaurant, a white child, who was allowed in, and he was dressed almost identically to Marcia, the mom's son. So, once again, it ain't no hidden racism. That was blatant racism. Now, the company's group said that they were, the restaurant group said they were sickened to hear that this manager said that. And I think they gave him an indefinite leave. So you are no longer properly employed there anymore.
Well,
but just to do something like that.
Yeah, I think the thing about it is they said indefinite leave. I mean, they should have fired him right away, because if you look at the video, you can see that the young boy had on a athletic shirt, some shorts, and some gym shoes. And the white manager came out and told him, you know, we have a dress code. You're not dressed properly. And then the mother saw another young kid, a white kid, that had on an athletic shirt, jeans, and some gym shoes, and he was eating, and they were about to get ready to leave. They had already eaten. And so she said, well, what's the difference between him and my son? He has on almost the same identical outfit. The guy didn't know what to do. It seems like in some case somebody told him to do this. This is what it seems like to me. Because he had no really answer for her, and then he started fumbling and making mistakes on what he was saying. Well, it's not the top, it's the shorts. And then when you hear him say, well, she said he got on the same shorts like he does. And so it did seem like it was a racially discriminated situation. What I'm not happy about is that they did, I think, apologize to her, but the fact of the matter is that they didn't do anything other than apologize. You know, we'll give you a free meal, or, you know, something like, I would have offered a free meal for life as long as she came there. I just think that the restaurant didn't handle it the right way. They just put this guy on indefinite leave. Now, he could be on indefinite leave from that restaurant. They may have more, and he may go work somewhere else. I just think they didn't handle it well. They need to clean it up a little bit more, and they need to do some retraining with the staff on following the guidelines of certain rules, and making sure that those rules are followed by everyone. If you allow one person in there, and that person sees that, then everybody should go in that day. Mm-hmm. Tomorrow you can enforce that rule again, but you can't enforce it for one person and not for another. And it just happened to be, you know, an African American person, so it's just at the wrong time, and that's sad. Now we just had Tamika come back and say, yes, we must vote. I heard 45 hire a friend of his to be the new postmaster over U.S. mail, so now he'll mess up the mail and votes. Now you know what, and you're so right about that, and people are not paying attention to that, Tamika, because they can do something about those absentee ballots, and so you need to be very concerned about that. If he's putting in people to be in charge of the mail, that means that they might try to stop some of those absentee ballots from going through. So that's a more serious situation than people know about, and so we definitely need to look into that. And I thank you for bringing it up, because that can be very serious. Something like that happen. I need to take a look and see if I'm still on the air. Yeah, okay. So yeah, that's so important. But thank you for sharing with that. We do need to vote, everyone. Like I was saying before, I look back to Malcolm X in the 60s, talking about, you know, racism. Then you go to the 90s with Farrakhan, talking about institutionalized racism. And now we're in 2020, and we're still talking about, systemic racism. We need to use our vote I heard like I said To Killer Mike, and he said something I never think about, but he said, if you don't like what's going on with the gun things, be a registered NRA, flood them with African Americans with NRA, and then you can start making decisions on where guns go and where they don't go. But if you're not being a part of something that makes decisions, then the only thing you can do is complain about it. And so we need to be very careful about things that are being done right now. And when you have a president that is putting friends into positions, he was gonna fire a judicial judge in one location, I think in New York, or was it New York or Ohio, and then put one of a friend of his in there who had no judicial or legal experience at all. And so now you're talking about he's going to have a postmaster in there who probably has no experience, and he's a friend of Trump's, and so they might try to steal the election by holding up some of the absentee ballots, and people are voting, that way. And so it's a situation where you're finding out that corruption is at its highest. And we need to really learn from this and make sure that we go out and vote. I don't care what they tell you that Biden is doing. Make your vote count. But, again, make Biden accountable for receiving the African American vote. We got to stop allowing Democrats to think that they can just have our votes.
Because, most people think, okay, let's equate Biden with Obama. Yeah, granted, he was a great vice president, but he's not Obama. He probably have his own little rules, because when he come in there, he want to change up some things and implement some new things. But like I said, let's make them accountable for our worthy vote. Tell me what you're gonna do for us, like you said, for our community, for us. Even though being a Democrat isn't just black, just tell us what you're gonna do.
Right. Hey, when we come back, we're gonna be talking about the subject on Let's Talk About It. The talk. Now, as African Americans, we know what that means. But some of our Caucasian brothers and sisters think it means something totally different. So we're going to talk about what it means to have the talk from your parents as African Americans, and what does that mean to your child when you give them that talk, and how a lot of parents are very concerned that they still have to have the talk with people today. And then we're going to talk about something else we get a chance to. Hopefully we will. It is going to be called Where is the Love? Showing Love in the Black Community. I heard a brother say, we need to start learning how to love each other again. And I was like, it was interesting, because he said he doesn't think that black people like being black. So we'll talk about that in a second.
Welcome back to the baddest crew on the internet.
Stay with us now.
Let's Stay Together Talk, where Christians go to have fun.
All right, welcome back to Let's Stay Together Talk. Your host, Reverend Rick McCain, along with my baby, my girl, my boo, author Brenda McCain, and Tracy Brown Howard. She's on Facebook with us, responding, taking care of some things. Hope she's doing better. She'll be back with us in 2021. The way it seems like it's going, you don't know when you're going to be coming back. But, hey, we was talking about, let's talk about it. If you missed it, we was talking to people about shut up and speak. It's your future, so shut up and speak. We're talking about, people protesting, having a plan of what they're going to do, because the government is hoping that what you're going to do is just protest a little while, then eventually you'll stop, you'll shut up, and you won't speak. So we've got to say, it's our future, it's your future, so shut up and speak. And then we're going to come back to now we're going to talk about the talk. And so, baby, some people don't really know what the talk is. I know you're going to give them a definition on that. But I was talking to some people and, listening to it, and I'm listening to other people, rappers and artists and stuff like that, talking about it. And a lot of our Caucasian friends don't know what the talk is. They actually thought that it was the birds and the bees talk. We got to talk about sex. And
that was our era.
That was our era. But when you have the talk has been something that has been happening with African Americans for centuries. Before we had to have the talk that we're having now, African Americans back in slavery and back in the time that they got emancipated and was freed, had to have the talk about how you spoke to white people. how you had to say yes sir and stuff like that. They had to tell you, hey, you can't go out there and speak to them like you would speak to someone else. And so
And
that
don't
was
look them in the
right.
eye.
So that was the talk that they had now. But now, you know, so we're supposed to be free. You know, and I think one guy said, if you have freedom, act like it. Now that 1968 and we got the Equal Rights Amendment, with you know with equality and stuff like that. The talk that we have now with our children deals with how you're supposed to deal with the police. And the show we saw, and I put it out there, was called Thug. You know, The Hate You Give, and I thought it was an exceptional show. It's talking about how to deal with policemen and the thought that they have against African Americans. And so, what you got over there?
Like you said, once again, it's not the birds and the bees. We're dealing with the Eagles and the Hawks right now. The talk now is a rite of passage with African American parents, definitely for their young men, the young boys, but for the young women as well, of how to conduct yourself when you are being pulled over by an officer, whether white or black, but mainly white, that you keep your hands on the dashboard. You do not question their command of what they're telling you to do. Do not reach for anything. Do not grab anything. Whatever they tell you to do, you need to do it. Do not question them. Sadly, you could be doing the right thing. You could do all the things, follow all the commands, and still end up dead. But this is why so many parents feel that it's necessary to have the talk with kids as little as 4 years old.
Yeah, and it's sad. You know, I was looking at the movie, and one of the things that I think the young lady said was very powerful was, how can we remove the fear that the police have about us when what they fear is our color? Mm-hmm. So the very essence that you are African American is what they fear. So I can't remove my color. So you're fearing something that you shouldn't fear. I fear you more than you fear me, because you have a weapon that can kill me just because you fear the concept of what my skin means to you. And again, I blame media for doing this a lot, especially Chicago media. I just can't stand sometimes, because they're always trying to find a black picture somewhere of an African American, or a black story where a black person had robbed somewhere without showing anything about other races, especially Caucasian. And so this thought process that people have is that you have to fear black people. Which again makes that Daryl Davis story, when he went to the Ku Klux Klan and was able to get them to understand who he was so powerful. It's so much that we have to do as African Americans to get white Americans to see who we are, that it's a shame that even now in 2020, parents have to have the talk with their children about how to interact with policemen. I can still remember my mom gave me the talk with my mom, then my father. I was in 8th grade, and we was about to go, downtown. We was gonna go see Bruce Lee, and my mom has told me about, hey, if you're gonna out there, the police are gonna probably be watching you. Be careful. Don't say anything smart. Don't run away from them. If they say something, listen to what they're saying, because I don't want you to be hurt. And she was nervous about me going by myself downtown in an area where the police were probably going to be looking at me as someone that was going to steal something. And so I didn't understand that. I'm like, I'm just going downtown. I didn't understand what she was concerned about, but it's amazing that we're talking about, 50 years ago, and we still got to tell our children, we got to give them the talk about how to deal with the police just because you're African American?
What's that saying? Driving while black, policing African Americans, surviving police encounters while black. It's so many different titles that we're holding while black, since we can't change the color of our skin. But the worst part of this is that this stigma has been placed upon us, and it's sort of like monkey see, monkey do. No offense to African Americans of how many different things that we've been involved in, but the racism thing has started decades ago with them beating us, and we don't fear you, but you fear us, and you're the one that's been shooting us down with water hoses, beating us with clubs for no reason. For those protesters protesting that we did, that was a good clean protest, or from slavery. I mean, you could just go back so many ways of. You guys make us seem like we're the savages, and we're not. We're just humans out here. We've been brought over to your world, so please treat us like we're humans in your world. But we don't even get the benefit of the doubt. And I know a lot of people might get turned off by this, but it is the truth. It is the solid truth of, hey, you guys terrorize African Americans forever, and now you're doing it now with behind a badge, and that's the part that hurts.
And the thing about it is that when you think about that, it's amazing that we live in a society where, because of my color, I've got to be told to be afraid. You can have a white kid in a hoopty riding around, and the police won't stop him, but an African American can be driving in a nice car, and the thought is, what did you do to get this car? Whose car did you steal? I want to check your license. Who does this car belong to? Where did you get this car? Where are you coming from?
Well, make it even better. That Caucasian driving around in that nice car won't even be questioned.
Yeah, but I'm saying he could be in a car that looks suspicious, and they won't stop him. And that's systematic racism. That's racism at its highest. That you just look at me. I'm going to be 60 years old soon, not today, but soon, and I still look at TV sometimes just automatically to make sure that the person that they're talking about doesn't look like me. And I can remember about 10 years ago, they were describing a person. He was bald-headed, about this weight, this. I'm like, that's a little bit too close to me. And it made me concerned because I didn't want to go somewhere and the police automatically think it's me. And this person had did something to a police officer, I think, too. And I was like, oh, my God, this is too close to me. Now, I didn't really say anything to you about it, but I was saying to myself, this is too close to me. I don't want them to see me out there waiting on the bus to take me to work at my job and say, that looks like him. Let's pull him over. And I don't have any rights at that time because even though I have First Amendment rights, they could break that or not follow that, throw me down to the ground, put a chokehold on me, put their knee on my thing, stop me from breathing, and in 8 minutes and 46 seconds, I'm dead. All because they assumed this person was me, without just coming up and saying, hey, you look like a blah, blah. I would show you my license, and so, I mean, even with the thing at the Wendy's, he showed them a license, stuff like that. Then they want to arrest him for driving under the influence. Well, he wasn't driving at the time. Just drive him home. All you do is say, hey, this is not right, blah, blah, blah. We didn't see you driving, but you shouldn't be driving. We're going to take you home. We don't have that afforded. So the family still has to have the talk to their child. And here's the thing that troubles me. We have these talks with our children, and I don't think they're listening no more.
I think they're immune to it. Because just like in the movie, what was it again? The Hate U Give.
Yeah.
Even though it was wrong that they killed the young guy, but you didn't have to get the brush and brush your hair. The young lady begged him, put your hands on the dashboard, and they still told him to get out once he did that. But she came across this brush, and he just said, oh, pass me the brush. I'm going to brush my hair while the cop is doing a check on him, running a background check. You didn't have to do that at that moment.
But you know what?
But it doesn't excuse the cop from shooting.
No, it doesn't. I mean, I can't even sit there and say what he did was wrong. He should have the right to go into his car and get a comb or a brush. I mean, if the white boy can do that, so should he.
Yeah,
You
you
know,
should be
the
able to, but the
assumption
world we live in.
the assumption
no.
is that the white kid could even have a gun, and the police officer ain't gonna shoot at him until he
Buddy,
gets shot at.
put that back in your dashboard.
He doesn't
please.
say, put that down. We can have the assumption that we have one. Just the assumption. You move, and I thought he was moving for a gun. You been down. I thought he was been down to his gun. You coughed the wrong way. His hand like it was going for. I mean, these are the things that's just scary.
You can't do anything.
But the fact of the matter that we had to have this talk. Still now, in 2020, parents had to have the talk with their children to let them know what's going on. And so it's a shame that is happening.
It is.
But hey, that's the way of the world right now. Hey, I'm gonna play one song here, and then we're gonna come back with one of our last topics we're gonna talk about. And then we're gonna have we may try to get the relationship later. We've been having a hard time doing that lately. We're gonna have Club 50 talking. We should be able to get everything in. So I want you to listen up to this song. I thought I had it up in there, and I didn't. We're gonna play a song for you. Maybe we won't play a song for you because I don't have a song out there. No, I don't see anything that's really easy to put out there real quick. I tell you what. What do I got here? I ain't got nothing, baby. Let's go to the next subject while I'm trying to find a song. We're gonna talk about the last thing on. Let's talk about it.
Where is the love? Showing love in the black communities. Where's the love at, Rick?
It was funny again because I told you I was listening to some of the the guys talking and stuff like that, and I heard it was T.I. Yes, sorry, T.I. What's his name? Killer Mike, and this other guy was on the show, and he had said that what the things you need to do in the community, stuff like that. He made a profound statement to me. He says, I don't think black people like being black anymore. I don't think they like the fact of being black. And we live in a world where so many ethnicities, races of people are trying to be so much like whites. You got Latinos that'll do that. You got Irish that'll do that. You got Japanese. You got Chinese. They're trying to kind of assimilate to that because it provides more of a benefit for them. And when he said this, and this is true. That's not anything wrong. That's true. This happens. You see it all the time where people are trying to assimilate to that because of the benefits they get. The lighter skin you are, the more benefits you have. When Irish people came here, what helped them, because they didn't want Irish people here, was the fact that their skin was light and they were able to assimilate. When the Chinese first came here, they wanted to kick the Chinese out. They had a law that Chinese could not come in, and for a couple of centuries, Chinese people were not allowed to come to the United States. But what helped them was that their skin was light, and so they were able to blend in. That's what they call the melting pot. You're melting into that one color that's been accepted, which is white. And so most nationalities try to melt into that color. And so when he said, we're not proud of being black anymore, well, it really troubled me, and I mean, so that's why when I came up with that, it was like, where is the love? Showing love in your black community. We're not showing love in our black communities. We're killing each other at an alarming rate. You can't say that you love your community, and yet you're killing your own people. We're selling drugs to people and killing them at an alarming rate. We're stealing from each other at an alarming rate.
Sex trafficking.
I mean, that's still more of a white thing, but it's we're doing a lot of things, and we need to start loving each other again and showing some love to each other. And I just, it troubled me when I heard him say that it doesn't seem like we love each other anymore. We've divided each other, try to be a melting pot race because light skin is better than dark skin, and different shades. With you too dark, and I don't want to be talking to someone that's that dark, or I don't, she can't be my friend. And even they did a study long ago where it was showing black babies dials, and they say, here's a white dial and this is a black dial. Which one do you like? And they would pick overwhelmingly they would pick the white dial because they was almost trained in not liking what they looked like, because majority of the times the only thing they had to choose was the white dial, because that's the only thing that most companies were producing was white Shatty Cathys and Barbies and other dials. And so when the child saw the dial that one was black and one was white, they most of the times, 9 out of 10 times, would pick the white dial. And so we've been institutionalized to think that it's better to be a lighter skin and not to like who we are. And so we have to get back to what James Brown said, is say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. And I just think that
no matter what shade of color.
Yeah, and I just think that happened. I mean, you did a segment about that.
Colorism.
Yeah.
And it's sad because I know I'm that in between color, as we call it, the peanut butter color or the brown. Well, I can't say brown. They used to call us caramel or the peanut butter color, whatever. You were just in between the invisible color. You neither light or dark, so you was more accepted to go either way, because I noticed like when we did this, you could put me in a picture with every 6 shades of people being darker than me and I'm the lighter complexion, or you could put me in the picture with someone 6 shades lighter than me and I'm the darker one. And unfortunately our communities have divided us up that way. Light-skinned girls was being picked on from dark-skinned girls. Dark-skinned girls didn't want to be bothered with the light-skinned girls. It was just so much. And I had a friend tell me before, you don't understand our plight, Brenda, because you got the invisible complexion. Nobody say anything to you. I could empathize with people. I get it. I understand it, because I had friends on both ends of the spectrum that always pulled me trying to stay with them and to do this. But when it comes to the community factor of this, we separate ourselves. We are still divided, and that goes back to what we were talking about last week, the week before. We got to get on the same playing field and show our love for one another, because if we don't do it, guess what? They not gonna do it.
Yeah.
So we better just appreciate, each other. That's why I lift up my sisters and tell us we are beautiful. I don't care what complexion, what body type you are. If I feel the need to say it, I'm gonna say it.
Yeah, and that's the thing we got to do. We got to start, loving each other. I have this page that I have. It's called African American Love, and it's called AAL. It's a Facebook page I have out there. If you want to join, go ahead and join. It's called AAL, African American Love. I have not been, writing on it as much as I should, but I say I want to get back to that. But it's important that we start showing love to each other. I wanted to start a movement where every time another brother saw a brother, we just say, what's up, brother? What's up, brother? What's up? Just acknowledge each other. I'm here, you're here, we together. Let's form a bond.
I see you and I hear you.
Right. And you want to be able to do that. But we have grown to follow the leader. We were oppressed, and so we act like oppressed people. We were despised, and so we despise our own people. We were hated, and so we hate our own people. We were killed because we were black, and now we're killing our own black people. We're following the leader. We didn't like what we saw, but like they say, hurt people hurt people. We've been hurt, we've been abused, we've been neglected, We've
We've
been
been
tortured.
accused,
You know, we had so many things happen to us, and instead of us rising above it and saying, no, we don't want to do this to each other, we are still repeating the same cycle of hurting and killing and, you know, our own people. And don't let one person get a little bit higher than the other. We're going to try to pull them back down.
Crabs in the barrel once again. We need to do better collectively as a race. And like I said, it's not bashing us because God knows I live being African American. I love the shade of color God put me in. I love the shade of color of my husband, my family, my friends. But if we don't do right and start paying attention and doing better and loving each other and loving up on one another, I'm telling you, we're going to be extinct. And it's going to come sooner than later because if we're killing each other at the alarming rate that we are still doing, I always say, a lot of people don't like this saying, how can they respect us if we don't respect ourselves? We really need to respect ourselves. They're going to be racist, period. But the unity of us coming together, walking together, fighting for justice together, that's a beautiful thing. And hopefully this is not temporary. Because I could just see it, you know, in the fall months fizzling on out.
This is a time that we have to start working together. I mean, this is a very pivotal. I mean, and so many people are saying what we are seeing now is just it doesn't happen once in a generation.
Mm-hmm.
And this is
phenomenal.
A generational change that's happening right now that we need to, you know, unite to. We need to grasp. You know, there's a saying in the church that Creflo Dollar comes, money coming to me now. We snatch it out of here. We need to snatch out this time that we have where unity is coming together with us and snatch it and claim it and start doing right. But African American, my black people, we can't expect the other races to stand up for us if we're pulling each other down.
Yeah.
We got to stop doing this. And so that's why African American love, you can join that, it'd be great. We need to start working together with each other. You know, it says, where's the love? We need to start finding the love again and showing love in our African American communities. Bring back your block clubs. Start working together in your communities and, you know, clean out the bad. You know, work with them, but if they don't want to work with you, clean them out. Get them out of your community and start uniting together and the power. And when you see that power that African Americans coming together, if African American people came together, oh my God, do you know how a force we would be? It says like only 15% of the world is African American. Do you know what that 15% can do if we came together? I mean, we could be a phenomenal force in this world. Look at where we are now. I mean, you got billionaires and millionaires now, and we're not really coming together with each other. Think what can happen if we came together. We could be our own lottery. Wouldn't need it. I mean, I'm not saying, you know, do the numbers again, but I mean, we could start investing in each other. Like I said, I want to see a black, what's that show we saw where they have the people, Black Shark Tank. You know, hey, we're gonna go on. I'm gonna play this song. James Brown says it best. Say it loud. I'm black and I'm proud. We're gonna play this. We're gonna come back with Club 50. We might have a chance for the relationship letter. We'll see. But this is Rick McCain along with my baby, my girl, my boo, author Brenda McCain, Tracy Brown Howard. Listen up to this song, and we'll be right back. So again, I just want to say, check out that page you want to. It's called AAL, African American Love. We need to start showing love to each other. This is a generational movement that we have right now. Well, we have groups, ethnicities coming together, standing for one thing, that Black Lives Matters, equality. They're seeing the abuse. They're finally seeing it. Thank goodness for technology where we have cameras out there instead of the news not showing it. Now they're forced to show it because people are seeing it everywhere. Use your social media for that. But we are in a generational time where we can change the culture and the thought process of what people think about African Americans. And young people, it's got to start with you. Get out there and vote. Have a plan. Do your homework. Take care of your schooling. Make sure you invest in you so someone else can invest in you. Do your best. These kind of changes like this only come around like in not even a decade. You may not even see this until 100 years from now. This change here is pivotal to what we can do for the rights of African Americans, the equality of African Americans. But we've got to do what's right within the African American community as well. So please, young people, step up. We're counting on you. Old men like me are just sitting up there saying, I wish I was young so I can fight and really fight out there. I'm doing my fight here. I'm doing my fight with other people. But you are our voices. You are our strength. You are our power. You are our kings. You are our queens. You are the ones that's going to make a change that the world will see and say it was because of this generation. What do they call it? The Z generation? I forget what they call it. What generation?
Yeah, I think
what
it's
generation?
the Z, millennials and the Z
Well,
generation.
we're past the millennials. I don't know if it's the Z
Z.
generation. You are the generation that's going to make the greatest change, and the door has been open for you to do that. Don't let it close on you. Hey, we're going to be coming back because the music is going to go off, and I'm going to go right into my speaking. So listen up. Hey, all right, welcome back, everybody. Let's Stay Together Talk. Your host, Reverend Rick McCain, saying it loud. I'm black and I'm proud. My boy James Brown is telling us we got to start loving each other again, but we have to have the confidence that our blackness we can be proud of. And James said it. Say it loud. I'm black and I'm proud. Been talking to people on Facebook. Hey, I want to give a shout out to all of our sponsors. Sponsors have not been sponsoring us lately because most of our sponsors are plays. If some of y'all don't know, me and Brenda do play reviews on the Let's Play. It's been a while since we've done one. We're going to get a shout out to our sponsors anyway who have sponsored us and helped us out. Eyeline Management, Looking Glass, American Blues Theater. I always forget some of these places. What's in Glencoe? Writers Theaters. Certain person has helped us out with our show, and we appreciate that. And we know that when the time comes again, they will be sponsors for us as well. Hey, if you know somebody who wants to sponsor the Let's Stay Together show, tell them to contact us at Let's Stay Together Talk Show at gmail.com. Give a shout out to Soar Radio, 2-time Stellar Award winner for Best Internet Station of the Year. Already doing some excellent job with this 2020 Soar Radio. Man, they're going to be having some guests out there that it is amazing. We went to, this is our third time we went? And I made the big mistake in thinking, I'll come a little bit later to go see the Soar Radio. I had to park so far away from the thing, it seemed like I had to walk about a mile because that place was packed. Rockford, Illinois. Justin is doing an excellent job out there with Soar Radio, him and his father and family. We are so happy to be a part of this radio network. And 2021 Soar Radio Awards is going to be just phenomenal. So go to Soar Radio and find out more about it, soarradio.com. He's already out there on his Facebook page telling you a lot of things is going to be happening, so check it out. Baby, what you got?
Before I say that, I want to do a shout out to Piper Kilpatrick.
Yes.
Today is her birthday. We love you and
Piper.
miss you. Happy birthday. We hope you are having a wonderful day. You have a nice weather day too. So we're hoping you are having a blast for your, I'm going to play with her for your 21st birthday.
Yes.
Yeah, that sounds good.
So that's my girl. See, you Steven girl. You and him are like a freaking
Hey,
frat.
see, I miss him. I see he's out there, but I miss you.
Piper's my girl. That's that's my Ace Coon Boom. We ride or die when we go in the theater world. It's you and Steven. Y'all like freaking frat. Can't break them up, boys. Like, my God, can we take the glue off?
Yeah, Steven just text Piper. We shouted her out, Steven. We missed our girl and we miss you too.
Yeah, so what you got for me?
Okay. Do you want me to do the relationship letter? It's long.
No, go with your Club 50.
Okay. Club 50. Last week we talked about, advertised our shirt, baby. We talked about Juneteenth on Club 50. This week, I'm doing something a little different, and I want all of you guys to participate. The topic is, what advice would you give to your younger self? I'm going to post this probably in a blast. I'm not going to do too much of a write-up on it, but I'm going to kick it off. So I would like you to participate. Just give us a quote, Club 50. Give me a quote on my page. You could put a picture from you 10 years difference, 5-year difference, whatever. Just put 2 pictures out there if you have it, or just put your beautiful face out there. This is geared for my golden divas, but my men, you could get out there too. Because we need some inspiration. What would you tell your younger self to help you move on in the future right now?
I would probably tell my younger self to get out and vote. Know your worth. I'm laughing at Steven because he said, "Hey, Frick."
Who's that?
Frick and
Oh, a freaking frack. I thought you were saying something with
No.
that. Hey.
So, that's what I would tell my younger self. But excellent job with this Club 50. I'm trying to figure out what's gonna be. Is it gonna be Club 50 for a while? Because when you start reaching past that 50 and you you're gonna.
We in the 50s now.
Okay.
People now could go. I have my people in the 60s, 70s participating, but that's gonna be the name until I hit the big 6. So then we think about changing.
Okay. So I got about 20 more years for the big 6.
There you go.
So I mean, we hope you enjoyed the show. We're not really going to go off here, but kind of just climax of what we talked about. We were talking about as Black Christians, can we work with unsaved brothers and sisters? We're basically saying to the to church and the African American church that we need to make sure that we're not at the bottom of the totem pole. That we start working with people on common goals. Not necessarily worried about so much about them accepting Jesus Christ as their personal Savior, which we want everybody to do, but working with them so they don't look at the church as being a person that they don't want to work with because of our thought process. Everybody's not going to accept Jesus Christ as your personal Savior, but everyone should be offered the chance. But during that time, we need to know the people we're talking to, know where they at. I see you. I see you. I hear you. We've got to start doing that. Then we talked about it's your future. Shut up and speak. I said it many a times and say it again. The government is hoping that we will go through these protesters and just do something, and then eventually we'll shut up and we won't speak. So I'm saying it's your future. Shut up and speak. The talk. Amazing thing that we're still having the talk now with our children about being careful about being around the police. You also have to have that talk about being in white neighborhoods. We still have to have those talks too, because you could just be walking down the street and somebody will call the police on you. So you still have to have that talk about how you're dealing with the police. Thank God you got cameras now, and that helps out a lot. And where's the love? Showing love in the Black community. We need to start loving each other again. We cannot get upset about the love, the hate that someone else is showing us when we're not showing ourselves love. So we have to be very careful with that. Baby, you got anything you want to say?
I just want us to stay prayed up, stay awake, realize the times that we're living in. Be aware that COVID has not gone anywhere. Even though this weekend they're going to be opening up some stuff, just be aware of your surroundings. Have your mask on. Do your social distancing when you're out. Wash your hands. I mean, because our world is so different now. There's so many things coming at us, but I still say we are afforded the opportunity to make a change. Be the change that you want to see the world coming to.
That is so true. And like I would say again, this is a pivotal time. It's a generational period where African Americans can come together, where they have the support of other nationalities that are saying that injustice has happened. They're starting to understand what systemic racism is all about. We cannot let this generational gap in society go without taking advantage of it and working for the equality for all people, especially for African Americans. Mm-hmm. And so please, young people, churches, come together. Let's work together to get this done, because we may never in my lifetime or even your lifetime get this opportunity again. I told you before how long it took us to get civil rights. It took almost 100 years before, after slavery, to get civil rights. We're looking at now, from civil rights to 2020, it's like about 52 years. We're still looking at systemic racism. This is a generational gap. We have an opportunity to do something great. Don't let it go by. Hey, this is Rick McCain, along with my baby, my girl, my boo, Arthur Brent McCain, Tracy Brown Howard. Hey, I'm going to leave you up with Aretha Franklin. It says R-E-S-E-C-T. We got to learn how to respect each other, baby. We'll see you next Tuesday, 6:30. Woo! You got to stay on for a few seconds till this go off. Baby, I got it. What you need, you know I got it. All I'm asking, all the respect. Hey, baby, baby, come on. Hey, baby. Come see us next Tuesday now, 6:30. Woo! See you later, y'all.